Warning, some viewers may find the following footage deeply disturbing.
In the sprawling heartland of America, where the winds whisper tales of times long past, lies the unassuming community of Stull, Kansas. Founded in 1857 as Deer Creek and later renamed after its postmaster Sylvester Stull, this tiny settlement, tucked away on a rough county road between Topeka and Lawrence, might seem like just another forgotten patch of the Midwest. Yet, beneath its serene surface lurks a dark legend that has turned this quaint village into a nexus of supernatural fear and fascination. This tale begins innocently enough with the founding of a church in the late 1850s, where the first settlers, predominantly German immigrants fleeing restrictive regimes for the promises of freedom, gathered under the roof of the evangelical Emmanuel Church. As the community flourished, so too did its places of worship. Yet, as the old stone church was abandoned and left to crumble, a chilling aura began to envelop the nearby cemetery, laying the groundwork for a legend that would outlive the very stones from which the church was built. As the 20th century wore on, Stull seemed to recede from the memories of those beyond its borders. That is, until a fateful article published in the University Daily Kansan in November 1974 catapulted Stull from obscurity into infamy. The article alleged that the devil himself appeared in Stull Cemetery twice a year, once on Halloween and once on the spring equinox. It was claimed that Stull housed one of the 7 gateways to hell, and that the crumbling ruins of the evangelical Emmanuel Church were now possessed by demonic forces and the army of Satan. The legend grew, fed by whispers of witch hangings from the old tree that stood sentinel over the graves and tales of strange rituals performed under the cover of darkness. These stories painted Stull not just as a haunted locale, but as a battleground of good and evil, where the veil between this world and the next was perilously thin and growing thinner. As the legend of Stull Cemetery swelled, it began to draw the attention of curious thrill-seekers, ghost hunters, and those with a penchant for the dark tales. Each year, as Halloween approached, the air around Stull grew thick with anticipation and dread. And so, as the sun sets on the quiet fields of Kansas, the stage is set for a tale of hauntings and horror. As the legend of Stull Cemetery entrenched itself in modern Americana, details of its haunted past grew ever more vivid and terrifying. Residents and visitors spoke of eerie phenomena that could not be easily dismissed. The air around the old church and its derelict cemetery was said to be heavier, charged with a silent whisper of something ancient and malevolent. One particularly chilling tale involves the night of Halloween, when the boundaries between worlds were dangerously thin. Locals recount stories of the sky above Stull darkening unnaturally, as if even the stars themselves feared to shine over such cursed ground. On these nights, it's said that the wind carries the faint sounds of clanging chains and desperate ghostly whispers, echoes of those condemned to hang from the gnarled branches of the old hanging tree, their spirits eternally bound to the place of their execution. The most harrowing of these accounts details a group of thrill-seeking students who, drawn by the lure of witnessing the devil's own visitation, ventured into the cemetery one crisp equinox evening. As they navigated the uneven terrain of the graveyard, their flashlights casting long shadows among the tombstones, a sudden chill descended, and the air grew oppressively still. It was then that the faint sound of footsteps seemed to follow them, keeping pace with a sinister synchronicity. When they turned, hoping to catch a glimpse of their follower, they were met only with the empty path winding back towards the ruined church. Their hearts pounding, the group pressed on to the church itself, where local lore claimed that a staircase within the ruins descended directly into hell. As they approached, a figure cloaked in black was said to have appeared at the top of the stairs, its face a mask of darkness. Paralyzed between curiosity and dread, the group watched as the figure silently beckoned them forward before vanishing into the bowels of the church. Driven by fear and adrenaline, they followed, only to find the staircase crumbling beneath their feet, leading into an abyss of unspeakable horrors. As dawn broke, the students emerged from the cemetery, visibly shaken and changed. They spoke of hearing agonized screams and seeing fleeting visions of tormented souls reaching out from the shadows, each pleading for release from their eternal suffering. The incidents at Stull Cemetery fueled speculation and intrigue, drawing larger crowds each year, eager to experience the supernatural phenomena for themselves. This influx of visitors, while breathing new life into the legends, also brought unwelcome vandalism and disrespect to the sacred site, prompting local authorities to intervene. As Stull entered the 21st century, the community found itself at a crossroads between preserving its quiet rural life and managing the dark tourism that its infamous legend had spawned. The legend of Stull Cemetery reached a chilling crescendo one fateful autumn night when a thick fog rolled in, smothering the town in an otherworldly blanket of silence. Locals had grown wary of the cemetery, especially as Halloween approached. Yet, curiosity pulled some towards the foreboding gates, their courage bolstered by alcohol and the thrill of the unknown. Among the group of young adults that dared to enter that night was a pair of skeptics determined to debunk the paranormal claims. Armed with video cameras and bravado, they ventured into the heart of the cemetery. The air grew colder with each step, their breath visible in the dim light of their flashlights. The wind seemed to whisper names, calling out from the graves of the damned. As they approached the old church, a sinister presence made itself known. The temperature plummeted, and an oppressive darkness enveloped them, swallowing the light from their torches. They heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoing behind them, but when they turned, there was no one there, only the gnarled skeletal trees casting long, twisted shadows. Then, from the depths of the ruined church, a low, guttural growl emerged, reverberating through the walls. The group froze, their eyes wide with terror, as a figure slowly materialized at the entrance. It was tall and cloaked in shadows, its eyes burning like embers in the night. The figure raised a bony hand, pointing directly at them, and the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. The air filled with the stench of sulfur as more figures emerged from the fog, grotesque, demonic entities with twisted horns and leathery wings. They circled the group, their guttural growls and hissing whispers growing louder, filling the night with a cacophony of horror. One of the skeptics attempted to film the scene, but his camera malfunctioned, the screen flickering and then going dark. Desperate to escape, they turned to flee but found their paths blocked by the entities, whose eyes glowed with malevolent intent. The demons lunged and the group scattered, each person running blindly through the fog and darkness. One by one, they found themselves trapped by invisible barriers, their screams of terror swallowed by the night. The following morning, the few who survived stumbled out of the cemetery, their faces pale and eyes hollow with fear. They spoke in hushed tones of seeing the devil himself, his monstrous visage etched into their memories. Their bodies bore scratches and bruises as if marked by claws, and their minds were shattered by the visions of hell they had witnessed. News of the horrifying events spread quickly, adding fuel to the already blazing legend of Stull Cemetery. The stories of demonic sightings and encounters with the devil drew even more attention, despite, or perhaps because of, the dire warnings from those who had survived the night. Law enforcement increased their patrols, but the allure of witnessing the supernatural firsthand proved too strong for many. The cemetery became a place of both fascination and dread, its haunted reputation cemented in the annals of American folklore. Now let's quickly go over a list of the phenomena reportedly witnessed there. Devil's appearances. The devil is said to appear in Stull Cemetery twice each year, once on Halloween and once on the spring equinox. Origin. This particular element of the legend was popularized by an article in the University Daily Kansan in November 1974. Gateway to Hell. The ruins of the old church are rumored to contain stairs that descend directly into hell. Cultural reference. This claim has been linked to widespread urban legends about gateways to hell in various locations. Witch hangings. An old tree in the cemetery was supposedly used as a gallows for witches. These witches are said to return each year as part of Satan's army. Cultural context. This story reflects common folklore motifs found in many tales of haunted locations across the United States. Ghostly encounters. Reports include seeing shadowy figures, hearing ghostly whispers, and experiencing sudden drops in temperature. Accounts. These encounters are mostly anecdotal, coming from visitors and thrill seekers, especially around Halloween. Strange phenomena. Visitors have reported electronic malfunctions, such as cameras and flashlights dying suddenly when approaching or entering the cemetery. Dates. These reports have been particularly frequent since the late 20th century. Mysterious disappearances. There are tales of people disappearing in the cemetery, never to be seen again. Note: while these stories add to the eerie reputation of Stull, there is no documented evidence of such disappearances. Animal behavior. Animals, particularly dogs, are said to behave strangely or refuse to enter the cemetery. Animal behavior is often used as an indicator of paranormal activity in folklore. Psychological effects. Symptoms. Visitors often report feelings of overwhelming dread, nausea, or panic, particularly near the old church ruins. Speculation. These effects could be psychosomatic, induced by the eerie environment and the power of suggestion. Vandalism linked to satanic rituals. Incidents. Over the years, the cemetery has been the site of vandalism, which some believe to be linked to satanic rituals. Law enforcement. Increased police patrols, especially around Halloween, aim to curb these activities. The Pope's flight path. During a trip to Colorado in the 1990s, it was rumored that the Pope had his flight path altered to avoid flying over Stull, considering it unholy ground. However, there is no evidence to support this claim, and it is generally dismissed by the Catholic Church and historians. And there you have it, the spine-chilling tales of Stull Cemetery, a place where legends of the supernatural have turned a quiet, unassuming town into a hotspot for ghost hunters and thrill seekers. Whether it's the devil's appearances, the eerie gateway to hell, or the unsettling encounters reported by visitors, Stull remains one of America's most infamous urban legends. As we wrap up this journey into the macabre, remember to approach such places with respect and caution, because you never know what might be lurking in the shadows. Thanks for joining us, and if you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more eerie explorations. Stay curious, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.